Australia's baby deficit. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's have a look at this article from Yahoo Finance discussing the budget for this year and Australia's baby deficit. So what does it mean for Australia's bottom line? Now, we've seen in article after article where people are afraid to have children or putting off having children until they can buy a house or till they have some security. And then you hear all the other stories about how expensive children are. They cost a fortune. They cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is utter BS. And I speak from, well, a position of authority as a father of 5 children. Here's the trick, guys. They only cost as much as you want to spoil them, okay? You can find ways to save money. Kids really just want your time, to be honest, and to annoy you because they're tiny copies of you that have a lot of independent agency, which is kind of what you want to foster in your children. That's why my backyard constantly looks like a, well, let's just say a scene from Fallout, where they've crafted all these structures and things and, you know, turned my gym equipment into some playground post-apocalyptic structure. That's, you know, children. They play. They're awesome. People need to have more kids. Particularly, you know, it's better to have a natural population growth rate which grows slowly. And all the anti-natalists that think humans are a bane on the planet, don't even get me started about them. That's a whole other realm of stupidity. Most of them probably never have actually done the calculations to look at embodied energy and carrying capacity. When you actually pull that apart, it's quite ludicrous. And I had to do that. We did that at architecture. We did all of this stuff in architecture. This is when I became quite skeptical of a lot of the stuff that was being taught to me about the greenwashing and the population. When you start tearing it all apart, a lot of it, you know, isn't worth the biased assumptions that it's put on. But, you know, most people don't do that. They just go with the soundbite and the fear, and they run with it, and they don't have kids. So, what does the baby deficit mean for Australia's bottom line? Let's have a look at Samantha's take on this article. So, Australia is under threat of a population slump as the number of newborn babies is predicted to plummet thanks to the pandemic recession. Australia's Centre for Population has published new research by Professor Peter McDonald on our nation's fertility rate, which predicts there will be a deficit of 280,000 babies by 2024. And you're seeing this more and more actually around the world with lower testosterone levels in men in Western populations. I would argue that has a lot to do with the diet that we're consuming. The modern diet, the standard American diet, is not very healthy, and that can affect you entirely. You know, that's why go beef, guys. Good quality beef. But it'll power you in many ways. Get your virility back. The downward trend in fertility puts extra pressure on Treasurer Josh Frydenberg in the lead up to the budget next week, with the deepest recession since the 1930s expected to show a deficit in excess of $85 billion. The fertility rate will serve to highlight and exacerbate a structural problem which is already evident in the budget. Thanks to the pandemic, the already declining fertility rate looks set to accelerate in the near term. And there's a point where populations, where civilizations won't meet replacement rate, and a lot of them are at that. A lot of Western countries are not at replacement rate, and no civilization has been able to recover from that. America is just on the edge. Just on the edge. People aren't having kids. Look at Japan, guys. It's ludicrous over there. Their birth rate is just so low. So low. It's going to be a big problem. According to the report, around 56,000 fewer babies will be born in each of the next 5 years than predicted in last year's federal budget. The fertility rate, which was expected to increase to 1.9 babies per woman over the next 5 years from 1.8 in 2018, is now expected to drop to 1.6 babies per woman, the lowest level on record. So we're not there. Well, we're doing our part. We've got 5. But then again, you know, how many of Rachel's cousins haven't had any kids, or haven't even, you know, only one's gotten married, still not having kids, studying and in a career that probably might not eventuate into much. This is the problem. Everyone has this desire, you know, you want to get the career, you want to have this perfect fantasy life. When sometimes you just got to go for it, guys. It's never going to be perfect. And I know when Rachel first told me she was pregnant, I was terrified. Because you think, oh, what am I going to do? It's going to be hard to be a parent. It's easy. You just go with the flow, guys. Go with the flow. The kids grow up as you do as well. You kind of grow up together. So the outbreak of the pandemic, as well as the measures taken to limit its spread, well, no, it's the measures taken to limit its spread. It's the government intervention. That's what's had the impact. Catching an asymptomatic illness that most people don't even notice they have isn't going to impact them. It's expected to affect fertility by producing uncertainty among young people that leads to them deferring when they have children. And that's true also. I think, frankly, the insanely high housing costs are discouraging people from having kids. And that's really sad in a way, because your life changes. Your entire perspective changes when you have children. It really reframes what's important. It reframes what's important. He added that some households are also likely to defer children if one or both parents lose their eligibility for parental leave payments through the COVID-related unemployment. In addition to economic uncertainty and COVID lockdowns, border closures, which have brought overseas migration to a sudden halt, have also contributed to couples' decisions to call off or delay the decision to have children. So what does the baby deficit mean for Australia's bottom line? Sarah Hunter, chief economist at BIS Oxford Economics, said that the downturn would not have an immediate impact on the budget, but would have long-term implications such as reducing the size of the labour force. It ultimately reduces how big the economy can be, she told Sydney Morning Herald. This is going to have a material impact over the long term. The lower fertility rate will also have a severe impact on the delayed intergenerational report that maps out the long-term health of the budget. When released in 2015, it was based on a forecasted fertility rate of 1.9 until 2050. Well, there you go. So Australia's baby deficit. Is our government doing enough? After Australia hit the lowest fertility rate on record of 1.7 babies in 2001, a new campaign was introduced to boost the birth rate. In 2002 budget, delivered by then Treasurer Peter Costello, new parents were given a $2,500 baby bonus. At the time, Costello encouraged families to have one for mum, one for dad, and one for the country as part of his campaign to boost the birth rate. The scheme contributed to an increase in the fertility rate to 2.02 babies per woman in 2008, according to the ABS. Fast forward to 2020, and the budget, due to be handed down next week, is expected to show the lowest population growth in more than a century. But in July, Frydenberg said that the best way to boost the fertility rate was to make people more confident about the nation's economic future. Well, here's the thing. Some people are scared. They're scared about the future of the country, and they don't want to have children. Here's the thing. All throughout history, people have had kids in the most difficult and challenging times. That's humanity finds a way to survive. People will find a way to survive. What's more worrying is people that end their entire bloodline just over stupidity. Oh, I'm not having a child to save the environment. That's the stupidest bloody thing you can say in your life. You're not that important. You're not going to make that much of a difference. Seriously. Such arrogance and ignorance is just ludicrous. People should feel encouraged about the future, and the more children that we have in the country, together with our migration, will build our population growth, and that is good for the economy, he told the National Press Club. But if governments want Aussies to procreate for the good of the economy, they need to be prepared to help them. Labor's Home Affairs spokeswoman Christina Kennelly, who raised concerns about the forecast fertility rate last year, told the Sydney Morning Herald the government would have to use the budget to find a way to encourage more births. The July budget foreshadowed a drop in the fertility rate due to weaker economic conditions and outlook, meaning the Morrison recession is not putting people in the mood, she said. Notice how she's called it the Morrison recession. If the government wants parents to procreate, Frydenberg and Morrison must create a plan for jobs and economic growth. Or should Australia adopt some of the policies like some of the Eastern European countries? What about what Hungary's doing, where if you have so many kids, you don't have to pay tax anymore? That's awesome. And that's completely with my own bias coming through there. Maybe I should move to Hungary. Too bad I can't speak Hungarian. Although I'm sure, Austro-Hungarian could go over well, historically. What do you all think, everyone? Do you think Australia needs to increase its population? Do you think people are missing out on an opportunity for foolish reasons? Have you had children? Do you plan to have more? Or have you left it too late? How many times have you heard the story of people who just focus on career in their youngest, most fertile time of their life and then can't have kids when they're older? It's kind of sad. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. What would you do? What do you think the government should do to increase fertility rate? As always, thanks for watching. If you're a fan of the channel and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, guys. Have a great day, and I will see you all in the next episode. Bye for now.